Yo, 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 what's up, pimps? What's up, hoes? My friends, bros, non-bros, my people. Hey, some heat in the market again. Today, all systems are a go so far. It was a grind in the indices, but individual stocks were running. There was speculation all over the place. If you go through kind of the top gainers, top losers, and get a gauge of what's happening, there was a lot of speculation. But in terms of the indexes, what you can see here is, right, the Qs were just flat on the day for the most part. You had a small gap up and you just stick around. That's fine. Flat days, breakouts work, patterns will work, pullbacks into support zones will work. Everything will work clean. Don't worry about whether the market's going up or down. Even a little gap up and a sideways movement will often see the best breakout. So I thought that was pretty bullish for the QQQ. The IWM, up 0.45%. You could see there was a little bit of up and down, so it ended up being kind of a range day. But it was still really bullish. Like, you saw all sorts of breakouts happening, namely in crypto stocks. Bank stocks were hot. There was a whole host of things that were still moving around. The SPY was very similar. You had down, up, down, and you had some big fugazis. What I mean by fugazis is you have to be careful in a hot market. You often see candles like this, and it automatically, we are conditioned from 2022 to think short, right? Oh shit, here comes the market dump. But they're just coming into supports and then ripping back, and so you're getting a little bit of that action. It was definitely a trader's market today. No getting around that, but I would still consider it bullish. So let's just be really mindful that we are still in a bullish phase. But I'm warning you, pleading with you, we have seen this kind of action before. It just takes a little fart in the wind to knock the market over sometimes. When so many people are sitting on gains or the market's up so high, people get skittish fingers, right? Skittish, they get skittish. People remember what it cost them to be diamond handsing things, right? They remember that, right? How many times anybody that diamond hands, you guys saw that. You guys saw that Dumb Money movie. Old Stonk Mom's diamond hands that thing and lost all her cash, right? So people will remember these things, and so it just takes poof, right, to knock a market over. We have seen zero evidence of that happening. I anticipate this is kind of how it goes into the new year. And then, the first week of January will set the tone. It'll set the tone and give us an idea. Okay, what sectors are starting to come up? What's going to rotate? Usually what's hot one year or what's working one year, it can continue, but there are subtle shifts and patterns that start to work, and types of stocks and sectors. And so just got to be mindful of those things. Yes, we are still bullish, but we are getting extended. We had this one down day, but otherwise, right, we've been just kind of cruising higher and higher and higher. And you can feel the frothiness sometimes, right? And that's something to be just mindful. When everything looks good, when it takes you like an hour to get through your scans because there's so many heaters, there's always a turn around the corner. Now, it doesn't mean like a start of a bear market. I'm not saying that. That's rarely the case. Well, you can get a 3 or 4 day dip. And oftentimes a 3 or 4 day dip, if you're positioned wrong or oversized, you can give back a month's worth of gains. I have lived that life when I was new. You can make $1,000 every single day, and then boom, right? You lose 10 when the market turns, and you're like, ugh, right? So you want to be aggressive, but you want to be also managing your risk really, really tightly, and then watching for changes in price action. You want to be watching and seeing, like, are breakouts failing? Are supports still bouncing and holding? If they start to knife under, are you starting to see an increase in fugazis? This will all be, right, a big help. So just something to be mindful of. One more thing here. Let's just take a look at the T2108. You're still at 78. Remember that 80 is a sweet spot. In the 15 years I've been following this, it has rarely been wrong for more than a handful of days. It does not mean market crash or anything like that, but it can set the stage for long-term consolidation, weeks of choppiness, or 5, 6, 7% pullback sometimes is in the cards. It doesn't mean the trend is over, but when you get that frothy, you got to reset charts a lot, right? So just be mindful. That day is coming. We're almost there. It could be now. It could be, once you get over 80, but it's rare to be over 80. Besides just popping COVID, I saw it a handful of times, right? Like just a handful. Like if you're looking at this more on a weekly basis, one time, two time, three times. So this level here is 80s, right? So you're talking like once every couple years. You went about 3 years here to get 90, another couple years. So right in the last 5 years, twice. So if you get into the 90s, watch the heck out. When you're feeling good, that's when you want to withdraw money out of your account. Take your profits, pay your taxes. It will help you. Now, look, I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer because there's some good-looking setups here. There's some good God-fearing Christian setups here that we want to take part of, all right? So let's get into this. Hey, this RDFN had a nice run nice pop at the open, and this is happening a lot. It's so a lot of times when people are watching a level, it just rips in the first candle, and if you don't get it, then it kind of comes back and it grinds back. Still a good-looking setup. I'm looking for a speed up on this one. SEDG, I don't know what's up with these solar stocks today, but they took a breather. They were all kind of flat on the day, but I'm still watching this one. It hasn't confirmed yet. I think maybe 98 and some change will send this, 98, 97, 80, potato. AAOI had an inside day today, right? So this is very natural. This is a hot setup in the market. Big push. Very, very narrow range inside that day. That's I think, a bullish setup for tomorrow. This is a show and go and break out of 2386. Man, we could get this party going. All right? You got ZM had a hot break. I would consider this an inside day too. Even though it broke the level of resistance, it was just for 5 seconds and it came back down. I consider this an inside day. It's a good look. It already had 3 days. Always remember, guys, stocks tend to pop for 3 to 5 days, but if you're buying breakouts on day 4, day 5, you have a very much higher chance of the breakout failing. Ideally, days 1 and 2 of breakout, you can chase. Once you're at past day 3, intraday you can only buy on pullbacks, or if you're a swing trader, you want to make sure you have a rest day or inside day to kind of reset the chart a little bit, build up some steam. Snow, still watching this one. It looks Butamus Maximus. It popped up for a hot second, and then it was just a big rundy the whole day. Very narrow range. It might be tomorrow that this thing goes, but large caps in general, we're fading off a little bit today. You had the downtrend in Google, and NVIDIA was a little bit of a turd, and so some of these things were all they were all flatty. Like Apple was kind of in the dumper most of the day, and see, this is what's happening, right? You get these pullbacks, double bottoms, and you're starting to rip. So I think the large caps, I love trading these things. I spent a lifetime trading them, but I think there's some just better names out there for a little bit more ATR. This thing, I think, will start to expand if we can break there. SMCI, so you had this big push, then a pullback, and now you're starting to hold. I'm watching this one. Let's see if this bad boy starts to kind of come out of this range right here. It's coiled up like a goose's caboose. If we can kind of pass this 298, 300 zone, I think that sets us into a nice push into Friday where things can get really juicy with, zero DTE and stuff on all these names, right? All the degenerates come in. Probably you got $5,000 in your account, right? You're just waiting for Friday where you can trade everything cheap and just go and shred, right? And just yellow one thing and hope it's gonna make your day. I still got DDD on the watch list here, 685. It had an inside day here. That's normal after such a big push, right? 625 to 680 inside day. This thing is ready to pate. VFS, 1 test, 2 tests, 3 tests. You need 3 tests of resistance to have really powerful breakouts. You've got, this is probably the market to do this in. We're seeing all these kind of turds cruise around, do all this stuff. Every pig has its day, and this is the smelliest of pigs, right? just take that one in, right? This one has got a chance here. This is not my style, but I don't consider this a small cap. It's a $10 billion company. It's going to have some range on it. Roku still watching this one. We've got a little bit of a kind of a 4-day range break here. Let's go to like a 15-minute chart here. And you can kind of see, right, there's just a level that's been marinating on the hibachi grill all, since the 18th. Yeah, give or take the 18th, right? Watch the hibachi station over here. If you start to push over, then there's going to be a little marination station on this one. Hey, 1 test, 2 tests, 3 tests. Now, look, this is a 3rd test of breakout, but it's too extended. Remember that a breakout is the beginning of a race. The breakout is the beginning of a race. So when you run it straight into the resistance, your resistance will resist. It's usually when you get coiled up that things start to break. This had a nice pullback into, right? It's retraced about half that move here. You got the 50-day moving average right there. Like, this has a chance. You can see here, right? It's been tapping into the 50 EMA on the 15-minute chart. If it can break and hold that, I think you got a chance. Uber. Old Uber, man. Uber, a national treasure. Think about how many times you've been saved by the old Uber. Man, I can't even count how many Irish goodbyes I do now when I go out sometimes, right? Because you got that old Uber just on your phone. It's like, ooh, ooh, hello, have some drinks, Irish goodbye. You can get out at a normal time. Back in the day, you got to wait for your buddy to get done talking to the lady, and then you got to wait for your ride. You got to call your mom, pick you up, whatever it might be. Man, the Uber changed the game, man. 63.50. We are ready to party. I just want to mention how the ranges have kind of sucked up a little bit there as the markets get higher and higher. The ATRs have been a little bit compressed, so just be mindful too. Like, some of these stocks, they're running out of steam here. Old Hood, you've got tap. This 13.50, and it did peak its head. It prairie dogged over there for like a hot second, but you have a level here. I wish the 9 EMA was a little bit tighter, but when pigs fly, what's more piggy than these guys, right? VKTX, sometimes it's good to kind of play a couple of these that are like not as well known. You got a flag pattern here. Just a very easy-go-lucky level at $20. This is not a heavily watched name, so you can get cleaner plays. Guys, when you have crowded names, sometimes like when everybody's watching, let's say, CVNA or something, they ramp and fall faster than they should. So often they will break the rules on a chart and then come back into like different zones that you may not be watching or even aware that exist, because they're kind of following a different rule because they're so crowded. I think some of these kind of names that are a little bit more mid-tier, this is going to be a good setup for tomorrow too. Hims, the boner pills, right? Dude, imagine, before you had to just go, the only place you could get your boner pills before you were the age of 60 was probably from the guy that sells the roids at the gym, pumping people of TRT and then, giving you a little boost of Hims. Now you can go on Hims. You can get a teledoc. Nobody's going to even see your face. They're not going to tell your mom. They're not going to tell your girlfriend. And you can go and get yourself some Hims, some nice boner pills along with Propecia, all this kind of fun stuff. And boom, you've got hair. You've got boners, you've got it all. We got a flag breakout here, 915, 925, give or take. It's a buenos, right? It's a buenos. That looks pretty good. 4 million shares in volume, not too heavily watched. Old Peloton, I've been putting this one on the list for a while, but it's much more coiled up than it was this time. 665, I think, gets it. I got in my IRA a buy stop for this thing. Not many left that are sitting there near the bottoms. Even though it's up 50% from its bottom, right? A lot of stocks are up 100, 200, 300%, so on and so forth. So you still got this one going. Old Chewy's building out a flag here, guys. This thing, right? Everybody loves their dogs, right? Everybody loves their dogs, hates their people. We need to invert Chewy. This should be a movement, right? This should be the price of Amazon at $2 trillion. Amazon should be the price of Chewy at $10 billion. Dogs rule the world. We know that. You can't. During Christmas, I can't even count how many times I go on my Instagram and be like, Happy Merry Christmas from me and my family, right? And it's like 2 millennials that refuse to have kids, but they got puppies, right? Small dogs, right? And there's some poor bastard who's just like sitting there because his wife or girlfriend made. I'm like, and you just see that, and you're like, man, that guy's got the look. Like, I pick up small dog shit all day because my girlfriend makes me. I wish I was hunting bears or doing something else, but here I am in Paducah, Kansas. We do bingo, trivia night, and I follow this little dog around, and we call it our family. So there's Chewy. This is a movement. We can get this thing going. Old Celsius. Paul took this in our swing trading service today on the break here. Man, I think this one's got 58, and if it breaks 58, man, it can squeeze. 37% of the float is short. It's a looking buenos. That's Spanish for good. For those of you guys that didn't graduate high school, my friends. All CVNA. I don't like the way this one's trading, man. It was all over the place, man. It pops, drops, banks, but the range is hot, right? When the range is hot, we can let the rest, do whatever it needs to. Old Shoals here, still a flag pattern. And, that's it's like a 19 names. And then, the large caps, they've been resting. But at some point before this year, we'll see. This old NVIDIA should attempt to break that 500. Right, Tesla did kind of come out of its flag a little bit. They're not moving around as fun. We're right now in degenerate land, right? You want to be in the GMEs. Look at Mara right now. Like, right? This is the top of the list. This is the top of the list that gaps up. I've made 4 15-cent, 20-cent donations on this thing. I keep thinking I have it timed. I thought I had it timed right here. It dropped 50, 60 cents, but then, it gets stopped down. It's happened a couple times here. But my timing is good. Most of the times I've been making the donations. I've been up on it. I got to scale out probably a little bit better, but, potato. That's the problem with counter trend trading. But we try again. We're going to try this again tomorrow, right? We're going to try this thing again tomorrow. I very rarely have been shorting this last month, but this is too juicy to pass up. So we gave it a whirl. We'll see what's up. I think, long term these things look awesome, but, look at the volume accumulation. But, for 2-3 days, 90 EMAs at 24. This is how I always think. If you can put 2 thumbs between the price and 90 EMA, you're definitely extended. But you're broken the top of the Bollinger Band. You got 92 stochastics. I bet this thing gaps up to, if nothing happens, if Bitcoin just stays where it is right now, probably gaps up to 32, 32.50, 33. If you get a 34, 35, oh my God, it's a high level setup at that point. And we do what we have to. We take the risks. All right. I love you guys. Be careful. Hot market. Be aggressive, but trail up those stops. You're gonna get fugazis all over the place. As the market gets more and more extended, you're gonna get more fugazis, like random intraday dumps on no news, like this. These are on no news, right? But what's happening is as the market gets higher and higher, dude, people are selling. They're locking in. You're getting more wick. You're going to get more wicks and all this kind of stuff. So love you guys. Peace.